These solo episodes are shorter messages focusing on one main thing, and today it's on further developments in the organic path of female embodiment, on somatic ways of accessing non dual consciousness. This has been relevant for me personally in living beyond patriarchal traditions in spirituality, and also for other women tuning into what I'm now calling somatic gnosis. Welcome, everyone, to this provocative and heartfelt podcast, Beyond Patriarchal Sex, a place for both women and men to elevate ourselves, finding out what it takes to live beyond our conditioning and assumptions, not only for ourselves, but also for the coming generations. My name is Dévashi Shakti, and you are warmly welcome to be part of these conversations. In what's known as feminine embodiment around the world, there's an understanding that it's a combination of things like the reclamation of sensuality, feeling full of oxytocin, returning to harmony with your cyclical rhythms in your female body, and freeing up the flow of sexual energy to become more comfortable with inhabiting your feminine energy and such. And that's all important. And it's part of the deprogramming from patriarchal conditioning inside of a woman. But usually it pretty much stops there. But in my experience, that's not the extent of female embodiment as a path. And what I mean by that is when divine consciousness is expressed through the original divine blueprint of the female form, following that has shown me that there's more to explore. Beyond the deprogramming from patriarchy and internalized patriarchy and misogyny in women, there is a deeply restorative experience of our original state as women. It's reorientating through listening to that inner path expressed through what are a series of natural physiological openings and awakenings, both physical and also deeply subtle. And these are things women don't usually feel, especially the more subtle ones, unless they're entering a process to intentionally contact that. It's already inherent to every woman, no matter her skin color, her culture, or her tradition. It just takes the interest to uncover it, as it's already there underneath layers of distraction and trauma and conditioning. These subtle states can happen spontaneously, but they also can be facilitated through practices that we teach at the Tigress Path, mostly in the deeper end training at this stage. And that's where I found it to naturally be opening women to non dual states of consciousness without any emotional bypassing, which is part of what makes it quite different. To have this level of intimacy with the felt sense of the primal guiding force of life itself, it gives women a more direct way of entering what is beyond patriarchal psychology, and then it drastically changes her experience of intimacy, of sex, of relating, including relationship with herself, with her body, her creativity, and spiritual connection. It definitely feels like the birthright of every woman to have this inner pathway illuminated. And so, with the term somatic gnosis, soma obviously refers to the body as a living whole organism, more than the physical, experienced from the first person perspective. And again, a simple explanation for gnosis, it's a Greek word for the mystical, spiritual, or intuitive knowledge that's distinctly different from purely intellectual understanding. And it involves a direct experiential contact of divine reality rather than just factual knowledge. What I'm calling somatic gnosis for women is a natural outcome of listening to her sensory inner pathways that are encountered through that direct, intimate experience of being so attuned somatically to her instinctual intelligence inside her female body. This is where Tigress Yoga came from. And yet, the expanded non dual states have been developed and experienced by women in this community more so in recent years through an extension of Tigress, which is called women's embodiment psychotherapy. And that's part of why the name is now the Tigress Path. And something I especially appreciate about the feeling of this is how it happens without emotional bypassing, because that often does happen in spiritual circles where non dual states of consciousness are explored. In fact, this experience for women of somatic gnosis from within, it doesn't arise when emotional bypassing is present. It requires a high level of inner coherence for it to even happen. It's not something that can be forced. It isn't from the transmission of someone outside of you, although that can help in part. It literally is something emerging from inside, which is really empowering for each individual woman because it shows her what was always already there that she did already have access to on her own and just didn't know how to make contact with it. So the way it's facilitated is in this approach is really respectful of each woman's capacity for it, rather than her having to attune to someone else to start to feel into it. The comprehensive path of female embodiment is about wholeness from within. So from more advanced, subtle inner body practices, this is what facilitates a real meeting of the alchemy of inner masculine and feminine, of Shiva and Shakti, beyond the psychological, emotional layers of processing, and also beyond what a lot of people are now exploring as feminine embodiment. It goes into a really grounded awareness that's like fully inhabiting your female glory, but with expansive spaciousness that silences your mind as you rest deeply into the throne of your whole body and being. The ways to describe it are really quite sensory and experiential, but I have been calling the felt sense frequency of it primordial grace. This is where much divine remembrance and natural mystical experiences happen without taking any substances, and that they're coming direct from your parasympathetic nervous system depths. Although some expanded states are definitely entered into spontaneously and unplanned in lovemaking, in natural childbirth, for example, mystical menstruation, the non dual states of consciousness that I'm speaking of usually take a more focused, sincere inner attention beyond the distractions into real intimacy with yourself inside. It is natural, but it's not passive. It does take a significant level of trauma healing as well to be able to access what could be called these post traumatic growth states, to have that more embodied expansion. As David Dubois, who translates texts from Kashmir Shaivism, said in episode 14, the traditions are here to comfort your own intuitions, to give you confidence in what you've always already known. And I deeply resonate with that because that really has been my experience already. So while I do greatly respect traditions of various cultures and have been involved in traditional tantra for more than half my life, the experience of somatic gnosis, as I and other women are coming to experience it, it is its own pathway, and it's really restorative, and it's quietly been taking women to non-dual states of consciousness. It feels like the deepest sense of embodied peace in your full feminine glory beyond your mind. And for me, I will continue to allow this inner path of somatic gnosis that I'm on to be supported by documented ancient wisdom that lights me up, while also knowing that women's bodies already are and already contain the felt sense of that innate wisdom already in the majesty of the female form encoded there. So I hope this has been beneficial, even just to know about this possibility, whether you're a woman or a man listening, because I think we all know, especially women, how much power and magic and love is contained within women and women's bodies, and how this natural wisdom is here for everyone to directly experience when they're ready for that. Now that you just listened to this episode, tell me about your experience of this in the new voice note feature. You'll see the link for it underneath the description. Whether you're a man or a woman, I welcome you to express yourself. Tell me what you want to hear more about. Ask a question or share a perspective that you want to bring. Even if you disagree, it's all welcome. And I will respond to your message by weaving it into future episodes. When you subscribe to this podcast or share it with friends or leave a review, know that it genuinely does help to bring more interesting speakers into this project, which is inspiring more people to have genuine connection and understanding and love and intimacy. And may we all be free from suffering.